Bagel, move. Thank you. Hi, what's good? I'm back. Today you're gonna talk about the aftermath of everything that happened to me. The last video, I guess we'll just try to pick up where we left off and see what happens. We're gonna go over quite a few things in this video today. So just be ready. So yeah. So I spent like the remainder of 2017 in my house. Like I didn't leave. I left, I think, one time in October, maybe. And I went and visited my friend in New Orleans, and that ended up being like, it didn't make me feel 100% better, obviously, but it did make me feel a little better, you know? Like, she had invited me to come and hang out with her and her roommates and everything, and so I thought that was cool. And it did prove to be kind of helpful, but it's like, I don't know, I was still struggling, you know what I mean? Like I was trying to put on a brave face for everybody and to not have people worry about me, and that's literally the worst thing I could do. So besides that, I was in my house all the time. I left UH campus for obvious reasons. I kind of ended up being a little bit more promiscuous. I'm not gonna lie. I think I was, you know, doing stuff and being more sexually active than normal, which, you know, you would think after you've been assaulted that'd be the opposite, but that just wasn't the case for me. And I think it just has to do with me trying to like really regain control of my body, you know, have that void filled. Someone I really loved and cared about just abandoned me, you know what I mean? So I think I was just trying to fill it up, and of course it didn't work, you know what I'm saying? It's just a bunch of hookups and one night stands, like come on. But eventually I had to get another job because the one that I had before, I decided to not go back, not like on purpose, but I was just so not good that I just stopped going. I'm not even gonna lie, I just stopped going. And they gave me a poor employee review or something like that, which didn't make any sense to me because I was like, I literally just got promoted to this role and I haven't had any time to learn it, and now you guys are saying that I'm doing a really bad job. Like that doesn't make sense. So I ended up getting a new job at a different vet clinic. I was a veterinary assistant there too. I was only making $9 an hour, guys. $9 an hour is not a lot. My rent was like $6.50, and so for lunch I was eating leftovers, other people's leftovers, food that they didn't want no more. I was bringing canned goods to lunch, like canned green beans, canned peas, carrots, stuff like that. Then I started dating somebody else, and it was really fast. It was like February 2018, and I wasn't planning on being in a serious relationship with this person. It just kind of happened. And so we just kind of ended up being together, and he lived in Friendswood, and so we stayed together for 2 years. But over the course of that 2 years was very, very crazy. What I remember one time, it's like before we made it official, so like end of January, beginning of February, I saw on my way to on his street a gun range that said "Happy Birthday" and then the name of my assailant. And I was just like, it took my breath away. Like I panicked and I was like, he's near me, he's here, I can't get away from him, he's here. And it just brought back all the negative feelings that I felt, you know, during our relationship, and then also during the assault. And you know, it's really deep, you know. So it happened to where, like, I remember, and then it's another time when I was at the gym with my then boyfriend, and I thought I saw him. I thought I saw my assailant at the gym, and I started again panicking. And he was like, "Why do you care if he's here? It's your ex." And I was like, "Cause he assaulted me. That's why." Like, what do you mean? What? And so I decided to move out of my apartment and move in with my brother in a different apartment. And it was cool. I really liked living with him. He was very neat. He was very tidy. He had very much rituals, discipline, kind of a role model, you know? And so there were just a couple more triggers that it's like when you feel a trigger, it's like your heart is sinking into your stomach and you can't breathe, and like your heart's racing really, really fast, and you really have to just work really hard to think about something else for long enough to where you can save yourself out of that, going into that rabbit hole, you know? And then of course, while I lived with my brother, I got my cat, Bagel. He's amazing. He wasn't always this way. He used to be bad. But he's cool. He's a good cat. Now he is anyway. But back then I was like, let me take him back, because he was bad. But he loves me more than I think anybody on this planet. Like unconditionally. He just loves me. The way he's attached to me, it's just crazy. Like I've never been loved so much, like except for by my mom, my parents. Like it's crazy. He loves me so much. But I finally made my way out of that $9 an hour position up to $13 an hour at GCVS, Gulf Coast Veterinary Specialist in the surgery department. I had such a good time there, y'all. I mean, it was crazy, and it didn't help my breakdown later on in the video, but it was everything I wanted. I learned so much at that place. Like, and I love surgery. So what better way than to be at Gulf Coast in surgery? It was my favorite, and I stayed there for about 2 years. Let's fast forward to 2019, the beginning of 2019. So I decided to move in with my boyfriend, and we found a place. I decided to go back to school because getting my degree is still very much something that's important to me. And it just ended up being such a flop. Like, I don't even think, it just doesn't feel fair, you know? Like I had to give up like that dream for a minute, you know what I mean? It just became so much harder somehow, you know, especially organic chemistry. That's the class I had with him. I could not deal. I couldn't. I had to take that class like 3 times, and I still haven't. So and so I go back to I go back to school, and it's a commuter school, so it's not like I'm living in an apartment or on campus. Like I didn't have that experience before a semester at Iowa State. But at this point, I'm working from 10 to 7 at Gulf Coast, and I have school also, and I have bills, and I'm an adult, and I'm not I'm not floating my way through life in college. And so I feel like this is when really the wedge came between, you know, my friend group and I. I mean, we were still friends, I guess, but the amount of things, like they kind of just stopped inviting me to things. Even though a lot of the times like I would say no, like that doesn't mean I want to not be invited. Like, of course I want to be invited. Like I'm your friend. Like I want to know that you still care. You know what I'm saying? Like, but per usual, I am always put last in the friend group because I'm the mom and I'm strong, and I don't need help apparently. And so my major is biology. I'm still trying to go for this degree, but I'm just poor and I'm busy. And so for me, it feels like my friends chose not to work around me. Do you know what I'm saying? Like if I work from 10 to 7, which is really like 10 to 8 at Gulf Coast, you know, and dinner's at 7, I can't go, you know, like I can't go. And they've only ever decided to come to me one time. And that was the last time I saw M and S. That was the last time I saw either of them. I remember they they didn't really want to see me. You know what I'm saying? Like if you were my friend, you really would see me. You really would make the time to see me. You'd be like, oh, when are you off? Or, oh, like maybe I can hang out with you, or outside of this one little time frame that I'm giving everybody. Like, I don't understand that at all. I was going out with my coworkers though, like they were kind of my friends at that moment because we all had the same shift, or you know, around the same shift, so it was easier for us to go out together. But that doesn't mean I didn't want to be with my other friends, you know what I mean? Like I still was trying. I was trying. They weren't. And so I remember the summer of 2019 being so crazy because this girl at work, she was a new girl at work, and I tried to be friends with her really, really like close, and I tried to hang out with her and give her guidance. But she was younger than me, and her lifestyle was just so much different than mine. Like, she was trying to go out and party and do this and that and blah. And I was just like, I'm kind of past that now. Like, I'm just trying to get my fucking degree. You know what I'm saying? Like, she was just too immature. And around the same time, summer 2019, I was not feeling good. Throughout all the stress that I've endured, I was having some really bad GI issues, where I would just be like throwing up for no reason. Like, I would just get super nauseated and then just throw up. It was like if I didn't eat when I first started to get hungry, there was a window past that, and then but after that, I couldn't eat anything. After that, I was throwing up. So I would throw up at work, I'd throw up at home, throw up at school. It was an issue, and because I work from 10 to 7, when the fuck am I gonna have time to go to the doctor? Never, you know what I'm saying? Like, so I ended up having a hiatal hernia, and I really do believe, you know, trauma has a really big impact on your gut biome. Mind, body, and soul all connected. So when one thing is out of whack, it can cause something else to also go out of whack. And so I've been dealing with that hiatal hernia for like 2 years now. I think I've been diagnosed since 2020, so like 2 or 3 years. It basically means that my stomach is going through my chest cavity into my esophagus. So I have acid reflux really bad. I can't eat spicy or acidic foods. I mean, I do, but I have to have Pepsid right there. There's nothing I can really do about this issue. It's not big enough to where it's causing me any physical harm, but it does have a big impact on my life. So I took electives over that summer of 2019. It was cool. It was chill. I was in the new place with my boyfriend at the time, and I took music electives, and my mom and I were just kind of hanging out at the new place. The thing about it is that while I was with my boyfriend at that time, I was kind of also discovering something about myself, like sexually, to be honest. And this is where things get a little raunchy, but I started having threesomes with people. I found an app, and the app connected me to couples, and I was a unicorn for a minute, y'all. I was a unicorn for a minute. And I was cheating. Yeah, I was cheating. All through 2019, I would say. Not all through. The summer 2019, all through the summer 2020, I would say. And the first time I did it, I felt horrible. I felt like I was gonna throw up. I didn't even sleep at all at the couple's house that night very well, like at all. I felt horrible, but it wasn't bad enough to keep me from cheating. You know what I mean? And I think I cheated because I didn't know what I wanted, and I knew that I didn't know what I wanted, and I stayed with him anyway. And that's when it got to an issue to where I ended up breaking up with him 2020, and we ended up having to live together through the end of our lease. And that was really rough. Breaking up with him was rough. You know, that's comfort, that's security, you know, that's what I want in life, right? But I didn't feel like I could be myself around him like that, you know what I mean? I wanted something completely different sexually. I was also into BDSM, so that was different too. And he wasn't like that. He was just very vanilla, very much mediocre, and happy with his life as it was. And that just wasn't me. You know, I was discovering stuff about myself, like I said, sexually, mentally, Black Lives Matter, all that stuff. And he was more on the right-leaning side. And I remember I met his family for the first time December, Christmas 2019, and it was crazy. Crazy experience, y'all. Crazy experience. The microaggressions just everywhere. And then on top of that, his sister asked me if I could teach her how to crip walk. And then she described it as a quote unquote black thing. So all I could do was laugh, because I was like, it was only a matter of time. It was only a matter of time. I'm like the first black person these people have ever been around. Like, please. The shit was crazy. What else happened summer 2019 though? It was a crazy time. Summer 2019 also, my grandmother passed away, my mom's mom, and that was hard. July 4th weekend. I lost two of my favorite animals in the entire world. Poor Daisy, my mom's dog, was hit by a car. And it just was really unfortunate the way that it happened, you know, like her man hadn't fixed the holes in the fence, right? And so we were plugging them up with rocks and stuff. And I guess he had been out there earlier and he was moving stuff around and he just didn't put the rocks back in where they're supposed to go. So she ended up at the front of the house and she just got hit. She got hit. And it was not even, it's the way he didn't dispose of her correctly. Do you know what I mean? Like, if a dog is part of my family, that's my heart and my soul. That's my baby, unconditional. And he just picked her up and threw her in the garbage can. No bag, no nothing, just empty whole body into the can. And I had to take it out because I was like, no, we're gonna bury her. What are you talking about? That's my baby, that's our baby, we're gonna bury her. You threw her in the garbage? The fuck, bro? I almost beat his ass. I was pissed. And with Cassius, it was hard because he was old. Cassius is my first love. Cassius, I was afraid of dogs before my dad got Cassius, and Cassius ended up being my life. He is the only reason I even want to go into veterinary medicine in the first place. You know, so losing him at 14 years, that was my rock, you know. And I know my dad wasn't taking it easily either because I was his dog, basically, you know. He brought him with him to Atlanta, and that's just a real family member, you know what I'm saying? So that was hard too. And then the longer we go on, the more unstable I'm becoming. I'm unraveling because I have not slowed down. I haven't taken a break yet. I just was assaulted and then got a new man, and now it's 2019 and I'm trying to get back to school. I'm trying to get things back to what they were, and it's hard, you know. That fall, winter of 2019, I was in lots of hard classes, but I did amazing. Partially because I was popping Addies nights before to make sure I had enough time to study because I was at work 10 to 7. You know what I'm saying? And I was also still cheating, also still having threesomes with other couples. Great experience, but I could have gone about it a whole nother way. But what really happened in the fall, or the December, it was December of 2019, my bad ex, the one who assaulted me, came back. He followed me on Instagram. I remember that day. I almost threw up. You know, I'm like, oh, so you've been waiting all this time until, because he's graduated in he's graduated. I was supposed to graduate in 2019 and I didn't. And he graduated early. He's younger than me. So he graduated in 2019, which made our no contact order null. And so he contacted me and I didn't know what to do. So I had him follow me, I guess. And I think part of the only reason he followed me was so that I could take a post down off of Instagram that I have about him, which I'm not. And it's still up there. Call you out by name. Yes, I did. So that also threw me for a loop. And I started to get confused about the way that I felt. And it was all kind of boiling up again. And I didn't really have any friends. Where were they? In their sororities, living their best life, having graduated, doing whatever they're doing with their white privileged lives, while I'm sitting here struggling, trying to keep up. And they just left me in the dust. And they just left me in the dust, you know? And I remember the last time I saw them, I saw M&S one time. I had work late, and so I couldn't go out to dinner with them. And they were like, oh, well, we can, I think either I suggested it or maybe one of them suggested it, coming over to my apartment and hanging out after dinner. And I was like, yes, please. I haven't seen you in so long. And they come over, they meet my boyfriend, we go into the bedroom, we're smoking. Well, me and Em are smoking, S does not smoke. And we kind of just catch up, and I tell them about Satan and how he is coming back to my life, and I don't know what to do, and they didn't have shit to say. And I tried to tell them about my life, and they didn't listen. And then they left, and I never saw them again. And I remember on Snapchat, once the pandemic actually started and we couldn't like be in physical contact with each other, they had posted a story, and it said, it was a video chat of the three of them, and it said, "The gang's all here," some shit like that. And I was like, oh? So I replied to it, and I said, LOL. And everybody read it in the group chat, but nobody responded. So I left the chat. And I haven't talked to anyone since. It's been 3 years, except for M, who decided to respond finally to something that I posted instead of lurking and hiding. Lurking and hiding. Yes, that's you. You lurk and you hide. Yes, you do. You want to act like none of that shit even happened. You want to act like oh, we can talk about this in so many other ways. Like, we could have gone about this so many other ways. Yeah, well, you could have gone about ghosting me other ways. You could have gone about being a bitch-ass friend other ways. Huh. Yeah, you could have. Yeah, you could have. You don't speak to me in 3 years and you want to talk about some shit like, oh, to keep my name out of your socials. Bitch, get my name out your fucking mouth. You know shit about me, bro. And the reason you don't know shit about me is because you abandoned me. Y'all abandoned me. Yes, you did. Because none of y'all are grown enough. None of y'all have the fucking balls to say shit to my face. None of y'all. None of y'all had the balls. None of you. Y'all just ghosted. You ghost and you lurked and have been lurking for 3 years. But can't say hi. Can't say I'm sorry. Can't say not a damn thing about a damn thing because you know you're fucking wrong. You know what you did was trifling, and now you're worried about people seeing you the way that I see you, the way that you are. Privileged. Check. Whack. Check. Weak. Check. All three of you. All three of you. Never there for me. Never. Name a time, bro. Name a time that y'all took my life seriously, that y'all took my shit seriously. Name a time where you dropped everything for me, because I can name plenty for y'all. I can name plenty. From all 10 fingers to all 10 motherfucking toes. You talking about there are some other ways we could have handled this. Fuck you, bitch. What? That's what you chose to say to me after being ghosted? After you've ghosted me for 3 years? That's cute. And then you come on talking about don't threaten me. I didn't threaten you, hoe. That's what you get for keeping my name in your fucking mouth. It's not my fault I got people out here who die about me. That's not my fault. People who actually give a fuck about me and how I feel, instead of people like you causing trauma and want to play the goddamn victim all the time. No more of that. None of that. We don't do that here anymore. We don't do that here anymore. Y'all don't know me. I'm different. I'm different. So, yeah. That's kind of what happened. I mean, that's pretty much what happened. It was awful. I went through these past 3 years by myself. And the weight of going through everything by myself. No one called to check on me. Too engulfed in your own lives to give a fuck about anybody but yourself. You know? And I still had to work, and I was sick, mentally unstable, the most unstable I've ever been in my life. And when I broke up with my boyfriend at the time, I was living in the apartment, and so was he, but I was still having threesomes. And at the time, summer 2020, I was hanging out with this couple a lot. I was staying at their house pretty much all the time. And so that ended up being a whole situation where I might do a video about threesomes all on their own, to be honest, because they deserve it. And I was just sick. I was losing weight. I was obsessed with my weight. I weighed myself all the time. Middle of the day, beginning of the day, end of the day, after a meal, for a meal. I was in group therapy for the first part of the summer, but it didn't really help, except like have a babysitter watch me to make sure I don't unalive, you know. I pretty much that's pretty much what it was. It's just a place to babysit. But after all that, and after everything that had happened before that, I did try to one more time to unalive myself. And I was hospitalized, and I got out July 5th or 6th, and I didn't want to leave. I did not want to leave because I had gotten my mind right in there, and I had nothing to worry about. Nothing. Not a meal, not what I'm going to do in an hour, not how I'm going to pay rent, nothing. And going back out into the real world scared me. So, yeah, I guess that's kind of all caught up into where like we are. I do have one more thing to say though. Y'all move different, because I don't treat my friends that way. I would never just ghost my friends. Y'all want to talk about some we thought you were having another one of your moments, another one of your, you mean depression, bitch? I have a moment in your first thought as my best friend is to leave me alone? Fuck you, bro. Fuck you, bro. Fuck you, bro. So yeah, that's it. Thank you guys so much for watching. This should be a pretty fast upload. I'm probably not gonna edit too much. But yeah, thanks guys. Bye.